Hey guys, Chauncey Phillips here, and welcome to my April 1st DVD update, where I talk about all the DVDs and Blu-rays that I received a review and talk about for you guys over the last 2 weeks or so. Like what I say, guys, enjoy these update videos. Definitely give this video a thumbs up. Leave me comments below where you guys thought of titles I reviewed and talked about this update, and any titles coming up which you guys like me to review for future updates, and some of the movies you guys have picked up recently. Now, the first one I got here from Shout Factory, this is an insane movie. Like, I had seen the poster for this in the past, and like heard people talk about this, but it was one I had never seen before. And it's a really early John Stamos movie, and I think it was like right before, I think it was probably about like a year before Full House, and I think it was like, I don't think he had done too much right before this movie. It's a movie called Never Too Young to Die, and Gene Simmons also acts in this movie as well, and he plays one of the most insane characters I think I've ever seen in history. He's like, does the whole character in drag, and sometimes he identifies as a woman, sometimes he identifies as a man, and the way he plays it is all over the place, and it's basically like, it's like a weird thing about John Stamos' father was killed, and his father worked in some kind of a government type agency, and he had some kind of a disc, like a floppy disk, kind of mini disc kind of thing. It was very early in the 80s to be talking about like a disc like this. I'm sure when this first came out, a lot of people didn't know what they were talking about, because it's a little like, you know, disc for a computer, and it was like a real early thing. I don't think they really talked about that kind of stuff too much around 86, but there was this disc that was stolen, and Gene Simmons' character is trying to find this disc, and he killed the father over the disc, and you know, then he comes after John Stamos, who's the son of the, you know, the guy that was killed, who had this disc that he wanted. So like John Stamos' character is kind of trying to, you know, figure out what to do, and he also has his friend character. It's a really funny guy, his friend, and like, and it's the thing that's kind of weird about this movie was it jumps around in some ways, and you go, wait a minute, who are these people, and how did they know, how are they with him, and how did the friend of John Stamos find these people that worked with the father? It's like, it's kind of weird. It goes all over the place. It's like one of those like movies that's kind of like a so bad it's good kind of movie, because it's just so ridiculous. And Gene Simmons, though, plays this super villain who wants this disc because he wants to destroy the world with these plans and like poison the water supply. And like I said, he does the movie in drag, and he has this really long nail, and like he kills people with the nail and shoves it in their neck, and he plays it real over the top and real insane. And it's just this really out there, peculiar, weird movie, and like really cool music and stuff. It's real 80s. I don't know, I really enjoyed this movie, but it is so insane, it's so peculiar, and like the plot is like kind of confusing exactly what they're doing and how like these characters kind of pop in at certain points. But it's, like I said, it's just one of those movies you watch it for like a really fun, ridiculous aspect to it. And the you know, there's a new transfer on here, looks really good, and also has a mode on here too where you can watch a VHS version of the movie. So that was kind of cool. It has on here too a commentary track with pop culture historian Russell Duvall. But like, I don't know, and I like the VHS aspect as well, because you could see too how bad the picture used to be and how you know, much it cleaned up the movie is. But really fun, ridiculous movie here. The next one here from Universal. This movie got a lot of negative reviews. I saw this one in theaters, and I actually found this movie to be kind of a fun movie. It's by no means like a perfect horror movie, but I like the concept of the movie. I like the character, and then there was also some really funny things to the movie too, like just like sort of stuff that was happening to some of the characters, and I was like, it was like, wait a minute, what is these like issues they're having? I don't know. Some of the stuff I just thought was like kind of ridiculous. But it's a movie called The Bye Bye Man. It's this one where you basically, if you know the name Bye Bye Man, anyone that if like you hear it, it's kind of like it gets stuck in your head. It's almost like one of those kind of songs that get stuck in your head. Like once you hear the Bye Bye Man's name, or you see it written down and you kind of say it, then the Bye Bye Man kind of haunts you, and like haunts everyone around you, and it's basically his goal is to kind of kill you. And it's about these kids that move into this old house. You know, they're going to school and they move into this old house. And it had some bad stuff happen to it in the past. And inside the desk, when the guy is cleaning out the house, and he finds some stuff in the garage, he finds this desk, and inside of the desk it says like "Bye Bye Man." And of course he reads this, and then like all hell breaks loose, and then the Bye Bye Man is coming after them and like torturing them, and he's kind of trying to figure out what he can do to stop the Bye Bye Man and how he can keep from getting killed. I don't know. I really like this. Like I said, I know this movie, a lot of people are giving this a lot of negative reviews. Didn't think it was a great movie, but for some reason I really enjoyed this movie, and also I was really glad too that they included on here the unrated cut of the movie, because I believe the movie was edited when it was released for theaters. It was cut to PG-13, so I thought it was really cool that they actually included the unrated cut on here. I believe the unrated cut is like I think it's like 3 minutes longer or so on here. But like I said, I really like this movie. Give this one a shot. I just thought, like, don't take this as like a real serious horror movie. Just take this as kind of like a fun, ridiculous horror movie with like a kind of a cool character. Like I said, I thought the Bettman was actually a pretty cool character. The next one here, and I did a full review of this one a week or so ago. So if you guys want to see that, you can check out the video for that. I'll put a link below for that in the description so you can see the actual full review of this. But this is from Disney, and it's Rogue One, a Star Wars story. But I'm not going to talk too much about this one, but, you know, really, really like this movie a lot. And like I said, I'm going to have a full review of that one underneath of that one if you guys have not seen it yet. The next one here, this is a really cool set. I was really excited when I heard Well Go USA was releasing this. And it's the Phantasm collection. And this is, you know, all the movies together. And I'm going to give you guys a little look at how this one looks and a little look at the discs and everything and what's on here. But this is basically, you know, all of the Phantasm movies together released on Blu-ray. And up until now, though, Phantasm 3 and 4 have never been released on Blu-ray, so they're exclusive to this set. I don't know if down the line Well Go USA will do, you know, single editions of those ones or not. And also in here, though, is a booklet and a poster, but I'll show you guys the artwork on the discs. And the discs also have reversible artwork as well to the original poster. So here's the artwork for the first movie. And the first movie is, you know, the brand new remastered 4K transfer, which looks great. You know, if you guys don't know, the Phantasm movies, basically, though, about the tall man who's at this, like, works at a funeral home, and there's all kinds of really weird stuff going on, the people that die there, and he's, like, shrinking them down and, like, putting them into this weird, like, netherworld type place. And they're coming back and they kind of work as his minions, and this kid kind of discovers about the tall man and this weird heinous stuff that's going on at the funeral home. And then of course, though, because of this, you know, he comes after his brother, and then his friend, you know, brother's friend played by Reggie Bannister, and they have like kind of have to battle him out. And throughout all the movies, like, you know, the tall man keeps coming back and wreaking havoc in their lives and stuff. I really love these movies and was really glad they put them all together in a set like this. But here's the artwork on the first one, and it has behind it the reversible artwork of the original movie poster here, and it's like that for all of them. And this one, though, has on here, though, then, you know, the new commentary track on here with the director on here, as well as, you know, behind the scenes home movies, deleted scenes. So tons of features on this one. Now for part 2 here. Now part 2 is the disc that was released. It has the new artwork on the disc, you know, because all the discs have these same artworks that have the same aesthetic to it. But here's the cover for part 2. But like I said, they all have the original reversible artwork, which is cool that they included that on here. But this one is the same features and everything that was on the Shout Factory, Scream Factory release. So it has the commentary track on here, the featurette in the movie on the gore effects, deleted scenes, additional scenes, from the original work print. So this is basically the, you know, the Scream Factory disc included in here. So that was pretty cool that they were able to license that and include that in here. And then part 3, which is, you know, has on here a brand new commentary track on here, an original audio commentary track with Inger Scrim and Michael Baldwin, making of, behind the scenes footage, deleted scene, trailer, radio spot. And this one I'll show you guys too, the this is the cover for that one. I love the look of all these. And like I said, this one has the original artwork as well. So this really is a cool set. And I like, too, that they have the original poster artwork behind them. And then it has part 4, which I said, too, was an exclusive to this release. Had not been released on Blu-ray before. And here's a look at the cover on that one. And this one has on here a commentary track, the making of Phantasm 4, behind-the-scenes trailers, and more on this one. Here's a look at the back here. And like I said, too, like the original poster artwork as well. And that was the one, too, they had on the original DVD. And then the last one in here is Phantasm 5, which, you know, is Phantasm Ravager. I think that's how you say it. And that has... here's the disc artwork, and that one has an exclusive bonus disc in here as well, which has, I'm trying to remember what was on the back of that one. It had like a bunch of stuff from Q&As and stuff from some film conventions and stuff as well. But this is a very, very cool set here, and now I'll show you guys too a little look at the booklet and everything that's in here. The one thing you get too is a full-size poster of the original poster for the film. You know, the poster, this is basically the remaster poster, and then behind it is the cover that's on the the box art of the Blu-ray set. But in here though is a full booklet here with has tons and tons of pictures in here from the movies, facts about the movie, trivia, and like all kind of liner notes and all that kind of stuff about the movies. So you guys are fans of these films, though, this is a really, really cool set. I like too, how, like I said, all the artwork on the spine goes like 1, 2, 3, 4 up until 5, and they all have the same look and everything. So very cool set. I just wanted to give you guys a little look at this set here. Now the next one here from Warner Brothers is the 4K release of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. This is one I really like this movie. And now some people are saying that you kind of need to know the Harry Potter films to see this one. You really don't. This movie is really a standalone film. It's set in the same universe as the Harry Potter films, but it's it's set before Harry Potter, but it has really no connection. They talk about the same school, Hogwarts, and all that kind of stuff, but there's not really any thing where you couldn't watch this movie if you didn't know those films at all. It really is its own story, its own thing. So don't be afraid, if you haven't seen the Harry Potter movies, to watch this one. But this movie is basically about the character of Newt, and he basically is this guy who has all the magician and everything, has all the powers and everything, and he goes around and kind of collects weird type of animals and all these kind of like weird species of all these kind of weird things, and he keeps them inside of his briefcase, and he goes to the city to try and find and buy this one type of creature. Of course, though, something ends up happening with his briefcase, and the creatures all get out, and because of that, though, the police and the magic police, I guess that's how you would say it, are kind of after him because he let these creatures out, and so he's in trouble, and he ends up kind of going around with this woman and this guy that he ends up meeting at the bank, and they're kind of going around trying to capture and find all these creatures that have gone loose in the city and are causing all kind of destruction and breaking things and all these kind of things, and people are seeing them and kind of exposing the whole magic community. And I don't know, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it has really, really great effects, and there's a really cool cameo in this movie as well. But like I said, though, don't think though you can't watch this movie if you haven't seen the other Harry Potter movies. I love all the Harry Potter movies and have seen them all in theaters and everything, but it has on here though over an hour of features on here, and some deleted scenes in here, and talking about the making a movie that was set before the Harry Potter films. And there's going to be a number of more feature sequels to the Fantastic Beasts films. I think there's like 2 or 3 announced, so definitely look forward to seeing them. I really love Eddie Redmayne as an actor, and thought he did a really good job in this movie. And this, like I said, this is the 4K edition. Looks great on on 4K. And 4K, the big thing with that is the high dynamic range, and it's really a movie too that has great dark levels, really great picture, really great effects in this movie. But really would recommend you guys check this one out. And like I said, don't think you can't see it if you don't know the Harry Potter films. And also I have here to let you guys know about the Harry Potter movies. They released the last 4 Harry Potter movies on 4K, and from what I heard, they're going to be releasing the first 4 movies at the end of the year, but there's a lot more work that has to be done with remastering the transfers and stuff like that, since they're much older films. These ones were shot more in 4K and already edited in that format, so it wasn't as much to put them onto the release. These have though all the old features that were on the last releases, but this is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, and really love the artwork on these ones. They had these same kind of flipcover artworks released probably a year ago when they re-released the DVDs. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and the side of them, the two, they all say Year 6. Harry Potter and then, the Deathly Hallows Part 1, and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, which was the last film. And, these movies, though, like I said, I really like these movies. I'm a fan of these movies. Saw all of them in theaters. Have the box set of all the movies on Blu-ray. Definitely looking forward to when they release the first 4 movies. I haven't seen the first 4 movies in such a long time. I looked through all these ones with the picture, though. The picture on these are great. And the Harry Potter movies, too, are definitely movies that have a lot of dark. They were filmed very dark. A lot of dark scenes and dark atmosphere and everything. So the high dynamic range really adds to these movies. So if you guys are a fan of the Harry Potter movies, letting you guys know, these are now out on 4K. The next one here from Anchor Bay, and this is a movie I saw in theaters as well, and this had a number of nominations, award nominations, and this was such a great movie. Really absolutely love this movie, and this movie is called Lion. And the movie is based on a true story, and it's basically all about this kid in the beginning of the movie. It was set in India, and this kid who went with his brother, went on a train to do some work. He was going to go and work somewhere and like help move things around, and he ended up wanting to go with his brother because he didn't want to be left at home. So his brother says, okay, I'll take you, and it's an area where the kid had never been before, and they had to take a train or two to get there. And what ends up happening though is the brother ends up the little kid ends up falling asleep at the train station, and the brother ends up going over to where he's going to work, and then like the kid wakes up, and all of a sudden he doesn't see his brother, he doesn't know where he is, he keeps on waiting for him. Then he ends up going inside of a train and falls asleep, and he gets basically taken thousands of miles away, or I think it's like 1,000 miles away from where he lives, and he basically becomes lost. He has no idea where he is. He has no idea even the name of his town. He only knows like a certain phrase, so like no one can figure out where he is to get him back home. They put his paper in the newspaper, but since he's so far away, the mother would never see this, so that he ends up basically in an orphanage. And it's kind of like about all the kind of bad stuff that's going on in the orphanage, and some of the stuff that was going on too with like terrible stuff with the kids and all these kind of heinous people that he was coming across who were kind of had bad plans for him and stuff. But he ends up getting it, like luckily enough, adopted by Nicole Kidman's family and Kidman and her husband, and he ends up getting taken to Australia. And then it jumps years later to Dev Patel playing the kid when he's in his 20s, and he's at a party one night and he hears about Google Earth. And he was telling them, too, about how he got lost from his family, and he doesn't know whatever happened to him. He's always kind of wondering. And when he finds out about Google Earth, he makes it his mission to try and, use the maps and then try and find exactly where his village was. Because he kind of remembers, like, certain things about it, like certain rock formations and certain things. So he makes it as kind of his mission to try and find his family. It's one of those things when even talking about it, you kind of feel like crying. Because it was a very sad, emotional movie. Like, I absolutely love this movie, and Rooney Mara's in the movie playing his girlfriend in the movie that's kind of helping him along the way, but such a well-made movie. Absolutely love this film. Has on here, though, deleted scenes, behind-the-scenes gallery, Never Give Up performance performed by Sia on here. The next one here from Paramount, and this is one of those movies that I didn't know if I was going to like it or not, and I ended up absolutely loving this movie. And it's a movie, too, that a lot of people saw in theaters, really, really went under the radar. And I have to say, too, the CGI effects from this movie, the movie relies so much on the CGI. It was actually really, really good CGI. The director mainly does animated films, but the CGI in this of the creature was actually really cool. And the thing that was kind of fun about this, the movie's called Monster Trucks, but the thing that was kind of fun about this movie was watching like the gag reel and stuff, because since it was a lot of the character was added in later, this kind of weird squid-like kind of monster creature, it was all added in later, so you kind of see behind the scenes all the characters that are wearing like green suits and the tennis balls on sticks and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of funny seeing them interacting, with this characters with the the tennis balls and the green suits and all that stuff, and all you can see is their eyes and stuff. I don't know, but the movie's basically though about this crew that's kind of digging for oil, and they end up uncovering these creatures that are living down where they're digging for oil, because they dig down very, very deep into the ground. And one of the creatures ends up getting loose, and he ends up going into a junkyard where the one character, the one guy played by Lucas Till, works. Is it Lucas Till? I always mess up his name. I'm pretty sure it's Lucas. I'm pretty sure it's Lucas Till, but basically though, he works there at this junkyard, and he ends up basically discovering this monster, and he kind of works on monster trucks and Dodge Rams and all these kind of things like that, and cleans them up, and is always working on like projects and stuff. And Danny Glover's his boss, and he ends up discovering this monster, and it's kind of like he becomes friends with this monster, and the monster goes into the truck and becomes like the engine to it. But of course, though, the people where the digging was are kind of trying to find this creature that they know it got loose, and so they're kind of going around the junkyard. And Jean Levy is in this movie, and she's from Don't Breathe, and was from the Evil Dead remake. Always a big fan of her, and she plays like the girl that likes Lucas Till's character. I hope I'm not saying the name wrong. It doesn't say on the back, and I don't want to be saying it all wrong and everything, but also it has on here too a cool like old school cover underneath of this one. I really like this cover, but it's basically though the guys are kind of coming after them, and it's just a really, really fun movie. Has on here though monster trucks, you know, creating the monster trucks, like I said, a gag reel, deleted scenes, and production galleries on this one. And the next one from Paramount as well is Office Christmas Party. This one has, you know, Jason Bateman, Olivia Munn, T.J. Miller, Vanessa Bayer, Rob Corddry, so lots of different people, Kate McKinnon, so a lot of people from SNL, Jennifer Aniston. It's basically, though, about this failing branch. I'm pretty sure it was a bank. I can't remember if it was a bank or a firm, but basically, though, they're not doing very well. And Jennifer Aniston and T.J. Miller are like brother and sister, and she kind of runs the other firm, and she kind of works with her brother, T.J. Miller, and T.J. Miller, his character, is kind of spending money like erratically, and because he's always kind of throwing parties for people at the bank and giving everybody like raises and all these kind of things, and just kind of like not doing very well with his money, and he's kind of let the business kind of slide, and because of his generosity, and like they're kind of losing money and they're about to be shut down because Jennifer Aniston's like, we can't keep this branch up anymore, and there's this one client that they really want to, you know, get, and she's like, well, if you can get them to agree to this deal and like work with us, then, you know, I won't close down the firm, close down this branch. So it's kind of like they invite him to this party, and Jennifer Aniston does not want them to throw this party, but they kind of go under what she says and throw this big, crazy, ridiculous party with all kind of crazy nonsense and ridiculous stuff going on in hopes of trying to impress this guy and getting him to go with them instead of the other group that he thinks he might go with. So it's kind of like this whole crazy, insane movie of all these kind of problems going on, and Jason Bateman is like that works with T.J. Miller, you know, there's his friend and works with him at this firm, and it's kind of them trying to butter up this guy and hope they can impress him. I just thought it was a fun movie. It's like one of those kind of things. It's like a fun kind of Christmas type movie. It's one of those movies you definitely would watch around Christmas time. You know, it's just like a fun, ridiculous, over the top movie, and it has on here the unrated version and the theatrical version on here. It has deleted and extended scenes. It has an alternate ending, outtakes, a commentary track with the director on here, and that one though is only on the theatrical version. And the unrated version is, I think it's about 5 minutes longer here. The next one here from Twilight Time. This is a movie, I had not seen this movie since I was a little kid. Like, I used to watch movies that were kind of like, sort of, I feel like kind of more for like adult kind of like films. And I watched a lot of them as a kid. And this really was kind of like, because I think I was watching this when I was probably like 5 years old. I have not seen this movie in so many years. And I forgot how much I really like this movie. And it's a movie called, it's from Twilight Time's limited line, so it's limited to 3,000 copies, and it's the Diane Keaton film Baby Boom. And they made a lot of movies like this around this time, like Three Men and a Baby, and like a lot of like kind of like baby type films like this around that time. And it's basically Diane Keaton is a woman that works at a what kind of place was it? Some kind of a firm kind of place where they kind of try and get clients, and like try and like advertisements and things like that, and like selling products and stuff. And she ends up, you know, is just about to become like promoted there to be, you know, one of the firm heads there with them at this firm. But then, like, she gets a call one day that her cousin that she never really met, she only met once when she was like 5 years old, had died, and she ended up inheriting something. She has to go to the airport and pick it up, and of course she gets there thinking it's going to be money or a check or something she has to sign for, and ends up being this baby, and she doesn't know what to do, and she wants to, you know, be someone who really has all the time in the world to just work with her business, and, you know, just really not have time for this. And Harold Ramis plays her boyfriend in this movie, and I loved Harold Ramis in this movie. He's only in it for a little bit, because once the baby comes to the picture, he leaves. He's like, nope, I can't do with this, because all he cares about is his work and doesn't really want to deal with anything else. But it's basically her dealing with this baby, and, you know, she doesn't know what she's going to do, if she wants to get rid of him. They put it up for adoption because it's kind of throwing her life into turmoil. But she kind of starts to really like this baby, and she kind of questions everything about her life, if she really wants to do what she's doing and wants to kind of make a change and stuff. And I think I liked it about this movie too is I love the music. It's got like that real 80s kind of jazz type music, kind of like Alf, if you know that kind of music, in the TV show Alf, that kind of like saxophone and all that kind of stuff music. And it's funny, there's all these comparisons online too, that one of the songs in this sounds so much like one of the songs in Twin Peaks, and I listened to it, and it really does have that same feel. It has on here though an isolated music and effects track on here, a commentary track with film historians on here, and a theatrical trailer. But really love this movie. If you guys haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend you guys check this out. The next one here from Severin Films, and this movie was insane. Like, I didn't know much about this movie at all. It's a movie called Kathy's Curse, and this movie was great. Like it's one of those so bad it's good movies though, because it's like everything, like it's one of those horror movies. I think it was trying to be like The Exorcist, but like it like basically anything it could do, it does. It has like I mean, like ghost aspects and like haunted things moving around and like making people's heads explode and like sort of explode like it's going to, like making things break. Like it's a horror movie that like just sort of does everything at once, and that doesn't really want to be one type of horror movie. It just wants to be everything, and even like sort of slightly cringy aspects as well. Like this one drunk guy, and then like he like starts seeing these snakes coming out of the bottles. That was the most insane scene I've ever saw in my life, with these snakes and these spiders crawling over this guy who was drunk, and he plays it so over the top and so ridiculous. But like I said, the movie's called Kathy's Curse. In the beginning of the movie, though, it's his father and the daughter in the car, and they get in a terrible accident, and she dies in there, and she has this doll, and this girl ends up moving to the house where the guy, her father, had grew up when he kind of lived there until he was like a kid and left. He hadn't been back in years, and he goes back there because he has to do some work around the area, and he goes there with his wife and his daughter, and Kathy, the girl, ends up discovering this doll in the house, and the doll has these like the eyes sewn shut. It's a very strange doll. It's like probably one of the creepiest dolls. It looks like they had like real human hair sewed into it. It was very strange. But of course she gets there, and there's all these weird paintings of the girl that died in the fire years back, and they don't explain things too well in this movie, and like things jump all around all over the place, but it's basically, though, once they get to this house, though, really odd things start to happen. And the drunk guy, though, is like a guy who kind of works on the land and cleans things up and stuff, but his stuff was just insane. The guy even had this rip on his arm. I was hoping we were gonna show exactly how he got that rip, maybe something else in the movie or something. I don't know. They filmed out of order, and they didn't feel like fixing it. But it was one of the most insane movies I had ever seen in my entire life. It truly was insane, and truly was absolutely amazing as well. But it has on here, though, the director's cut and the alternate U.S. release cut. It has an actress interview here with the actress who played Kathy. So it was kind of cool to see her and her mother, because she worked on the costumes, and they're kind of talking about how they got the role and everything. This is a movie that was filmed in Canada, and the music in here has that sort of Peanut Butter Solution feel to it. Like, if you guys know the movie Peanut Butter Solution, it kind of has that same kind of feel. Just a really wacky movie. It has a commentary track on here as well, but highly recommend you guys check this out. I love this movie. This is another one that I like, and this is from Severin's line, Intervision. It's a movie that has two films on here, Dream Stalker and Death by Love. The one I'm going to talk about is Dream Stalker, and it's basically about this guy who is like a motocross kind of guy, and he's dating this girl, and they kind of are really in love, and he ends up dying in this terrible accident on the bike, and he dies, and she kind of can't get over it, and she's kind of like, it's been 3 years, and she's like still thinking about him and still really misses him, and she starts having these really weird dreams and like weird encounters with the guy in the dreams, the guy who died, Ricky, and she keeps on seeing him, and then she starts dreaming about people, and then people she dreams about start to die, and like die these crazy deaths, like Ricky goes and kills them. It's kind of like a weird take on like Freddy Krueger, but like, and it's like a real shot on video type movie. I think it was probably shot on like a beta cam, so it's got that real, like, the movie's got really bad sound in some parts too, so I put on the subtitles because some parts it was really bad. But that kind of like added to this movie, because it was like and the music was amazing. It was just a ridiculous movie. But the stuff too, when she gets to like a campground, and it was like the most insane stuff at this campground, and like the kids were supposed to be like kids, but like they looked like they were like 30, and like it was really weird. Like, I'm like, wait a minute, why are these kids so old? And it was like they legitimately looked very old, some of them, and I think they were supposed to be like high school kids that were like bad youth at like a campground for troubled youths, but I kept on thinking it was like group home people or something. It was just the weirdest thing. One of the other really weird movies. I love this. If you guys have seen this movie before, I don't think it really ever had any releases in the past. I think just like VHS years ago, but just a ridiculous slasher movie. The next one here is a movie from MPI and Dark Sky Films, and this was another movie that was totally nuts. And it's a movie starring Sandra Oh and Anne Heche and Elisa Silverstone. It's a movie called Catfight, and this is another one. I love this movie, and also it, like, you know, goes all over the place, what with like showing how like it kind of reminded me of the director who made the movie Reality, like the movies that he does, and he did a movie called, I think, Wrong Cop or Wrong something, like, or like Rubber and stuff. Like, he does these really quirky movies, and this movie kind of felt like something he would do a little bit, like with the kind of vibe of what was going on. But it's basically about Sandra Oh, who is like woman whose husband is like, you know, has a really high paying job, and she kind of like, you know, has become like really high in class and everything, has all this kind of money and everything. She ends up going to a party, and Anne Heche is a woman who does artwork and also works with her girlfriend Lisa Silverstone as like a caterer to kind of make money, because she's really not making any money with her artwork. She's not really having too much luck, but she ends up going to this party and seeing, you know, Sandra Oh sees Anne Heche's character, and they used to be friends in college and had a bad falling out and haven't seen each other in years, and they end up getting into this terrible, like, insane fist fight, and Sandra Oh's character ends up getting knocked out cold and going into a coma from this, waking up years later and finding out that her son has died, her husband's dead, she has no money, and the whole world has gone to shambles, and everyone's like, it's like a total alternate reality type film when everything in the world's totally gone to pot. And she basically like makes her goal, Sandra Oh's character, kind of get revenge on Anne Heche, but she doesn't really know about her at first. She doesn't really remember because she has amnesia, but things start to slowly come back to her. But the movie's the kind of movie that one thing happens and another thing happens. It was just absolutely insane. I loved, you know, Lisa Silverstone in this movie, and I just love, I don't want to say too much more about it, but because it kind of is like a movie where like things repeat itself in this amazing way. I would say though, the only thing I could say about this movie was I felt like some of the fighting scenes went on a little bit long, like they didn't need as much of some of it. But other than that, I absolutely love this movie. It has a commentary track on here with the director, deleted scenes, and an art slide. So that's the thing too. The artwork in this movie was really great artwork. The next one here from Full Moon, and this is a movie that I had never saw this movie, called Hideous, aka Deformed Freaks. This is another really weird one. I had never seen this movie. This is one like I totally had missed from them. It was released in 1997 originally, and I think they filmed it in like Bulgaria when I was looking it up, where they filmed this movie. And it's basically, though, about like these guys that work like kind of cleaning out of sewer systems find these kind of like weird, like deformed babies and like stillborn births and all these kind of creatures and stuff. He's always finds stuff, and he kind of calls up this guy and kind of sells them to him, and he ends up buying this this deformed type creature for his collection, and he ends up getting like carjacked, and the creature ends up getting stolen, and by this other really like kind of rich guy in this mansion, and he has his own collection of all these deformed freaks, and they end up kind of tracking him down and going back to the kind of mansion where he is, and they're saying, you have this creature, and he's like, no, I don't, and it's basically all set in this mansion, and it's kind of like something has happened, and his collection of these deformed creatures come back to life, and they start like messing around in the house. It doesn't really have a whole like big like horror aspect to this. It's not like a real gory movie. It's more just like a really, really, really absurd oddness to like what is going on. And like these weird creatures. It's in the style though of like Ghoulies and stuff like that. But it's like it doesn't have like a ton of comedy to it. It's just kind of them. But the deformed creatures are kind of helping them a little bit too. But you don't know if they're going to turn on them. I enjoyed this movie. I thought this was like a really fun movie. I really like the Full Moon movies. And this one, like I said, I was kind of cool to see one that I had never seen before, and has, you know, on here a brand new transfer on here from the 35mm, you know, elements. And I actually thought it was a pretty good transfer. There's only like one aspect in this where I think they might have like teeny tiny bit of the film might have gotten like totally lost, and they put in like a video version of it. As I noticed that for like 1 second, like 2 or 3 seconds in this one little aspect of the movie. But really cool movie though, like I said, a weird kind of like Ghoulies, Puppet Master kind of feeling movie. The last one here, just want to let you guys know, is out. This is, I think, out April 11th, and this is from HBO, and this is the Blu-ray digital HD copy version of Veep, the complete 5th season. So if you guys are a fan of this show, just let you know that, you know, the 5th season, this one, is coming out on April 11th. This, you know, stars Julia Louis-Dreyfus, you know, as the president. Anyway, though, guys, that's all for this video. Thanks again for watching, subscribing, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.